Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Ankush here from Alif Consulting. Welcome in our application modernization case study. In this case study, we will be going to talk about one of the customer who have done the application modernization by using the Azure PaaS services or the database services, which help them to achieve the outcome which they are looking for, right? So in this case study, first of all, we're going to start with the customer overview. We're going to talk about the customer challenge. We are going to talk about the customer requirement. We're going to talk about the how the overall solutions looks like, how the solution designs look like, what are the design principles was there when we have designed that solution, and what was the outcome customer had achieved. Now let's talk about the customer overview. So this customer is belongs to the pharmacy, and this customer is basically serving for millions of consumer across the world, and they're searching for better way of how they can serve a customer better in their health needed while embracing the efficiency of the cloud. Customer work with us to migrate our pharmacy warehouse inventory management system to the Kubernetes and the Azure database for MySQL flexible server. With this fully managed compute and database as a services in place, customers have achieved auto scaling, disaster recovery, and significant cost saving into the smaller footprint. Right. So this is all about the customer. So this customer is kind of looking for the containerization of their application, because they are running their application on the on-premise on the servers where they don't have any kind of application modernization. They are simply relied on the physical servers, so they just want to come out from the physical data center and want to move move their application to the database as a service or the infrastructure as a services on the Kubernetes. Now, what are the challenges they have? So, customer have around 150 warehouses are to maintain the network and connectivity. Customer have a multiple data centers for their application and database instances. The disaster recovery solution is too complicated because it's kind of hot disaster recovery where they have to replicate all the data from primary to DR location to make the DR up and running, or to have the minimum recovery uh, time object or recovery RTO and RPOs, recovery time object and recovery point objects, right? Their maintenance and operation cost was too high since they have to maintain a multiple peoples. They have a large team to maintain, upgrade, and sync the data across the data centers. So no way of doing the modernization of the applications or the infrastructure or using the cost optimization. So these are some of the challenges which customer was having earlier. Now, what are the requirement is they want to have application to run on the smaller footprint. They need compliance and security to protect the health information. They need to meet all the HIPAA and HITRUST requirements. They want solution to be supported for scale in, scale out wherever needed. Solution should meet all the network security either on the layer 4 or layer 7. Minimize the overall infrastructure and maintenance and the operational cost. Minimize the infra provisioning time. So this is all their requirement was before moving to the Azure or doing the application modernization. Now let's talk about the solution overview. So as a solution overview or as a part of application migration, Azure Kubernetes was selected by customer to deploy the application, right? So application team have used the AKS to run the application and using the containerizations, and app and Azure Kubernetes services help them to minimize the infrastructure maintenance and provided the automated upgrade, repair, monitor, scale, and code-to-code cloud pipeline and the guardrails. After working closely with us, customer decided to leverage the Kubernetes services. These platforms provide customer with the fully managed experience of both compute and databases. Customer migrate all the application instances and reorganize them to align within the 10 Kubernetes services node into the single cluster, fully eliminating the cost of maintaining and managing the application hosting environment. AKS allows them for automatically rapid scaling up and scaling down to meet any demand, while node pooling allow for more processing power. Right now, everything can be done within the click. So this is all about the solution. So as we know, AKS is a fully orchestration services. It provide the end-to-end auto scaling. It provides us the end-to-end automation. It provide end-to-end containerization of the application, right? So that's why customer have selected the AKS to deploy their application and doing the containerizations. At the same time, they have selected database as a service in the backend, which is a SQL Postgres server for flexible server, where they have a capability to run the multiple databases at the single server. Now this is how their design look like. So you can see at the right side there is the two environment. One is the production and one is the TR region. So production and DR is basically having the geo application for container registry and the Kubernetes and the SQL PostgreSQL server. So that's why they're leveraging Azure application to replicate the data from one location to the another location, and then they have a private endpoint to restrict the connection to the container and the database servers over the virtual network only. At the same time, for the layer 4, we have Azure Firewall, which is deployed into the hub network, and then we have a application gateway, which is deployed into the hub network and the production network as well. So hub in the sorry the application gateway in hub is used as a layer 7 security with WAF, and application gateway into the production environment is just used with the ingress as an ingress controller to ingest the request into the Kubernetes and restrict the URLs and use as a proxy. Right, so that's how the solution has been designed for the customer. And then we do have a Azure B2C. We have we have Key Vault, we have log analytic workspace, Azure policies, and Microsoft Defender for the security purpose and the compliance purpose. Now what are the design principles? So we have a 5 design principle in this solution. First, design for automated. So wherever possible, use the automation. So if you use the AKS, you have a scale up, scale down capabilities within the Kubernetes cluster. That's is kind of the orchestration or the automation, which is predefined into the Kubernetes. And the same time, we do have a scale and scale up and scale down capabilities into the SQL PostgreSQL server, because since that is a PaaS services. Be smart with the state. So all the application states is stored into the Azure PostgreSQL. This allows customer to do scaling, repair, rollback, load balancing across the AKS node and the cluster. Uh, Favor managed services. So as customer want to minimize their overhead management overhead cost, right? So what we did, we used the managed services for across all the services like the security, databases, infrastructure, right? So customer can more focus on the application side, and they have the less overhead of managing the infrastructure and doing the operational work. Practice defense in the depth. So we make sure defense in the depth is enabled across the solution. So for that we have used firewall, we have used the application gateway, we have used the Azure policies, we use the Azure B2B, B2C, Microsoft Defender for cloud, and limited exposure of the Azure resources to the internet. Always be architecting. So this is a very important part. So the design which we have shown into the previous slide is not limited to there. In case of if there is any enhancements, any changes, or any new services need to be introduced as per the organization requirement, that's something customer can do. Now the one of the option can come in the radius cache, right? So let's take an example. Customer want to enhance uh, their uh, their end user experience. So what they can do, they have can use the radius cache. Let's take an example. If customer is having the videos, or customer is having the audios, or customer is having the images or media services to be included with their services, right? That's where they can use the CDN in future and can do the re-architect of their design to change the overall flow, or to change the application flow as per the business requirement. So these are all the design principle which was there into the design, which is shown into the previous slide. Now, what is the outcome, right? So as soon as customer migration was completed, customer immediately realized the benefit. The new system provides a smaller footprint at the lower maintenance cost while meeting the core objectives of the efficiency, scalability, and the high availability. Now customer can easily monitor all the processes, services, API, and alert, making management such simpler than before. And security capabilities including the auth, key vaults, and other encryptions, uh, application level of encryption, database level of encryption, everything was there in terms of security capability, and which keep customer compliant with all the required regulation compliances, right? So that's what outcome is. Now if you see, if you compare it with the on-premise where customer was running a multiple databases or multiple instances to run their application, now they just have a few nodes or few nodes running on a cluster. In the backend they have a single database instances, flexible server for Postgres, and that's where they are running all their hosted. So now where they are running the multiple databases now restricted to the one Kubernetes cluster and the one single PostgreSQL flexible server. And at the end, they are having all their securities using the key vault, firewall, layer 4 security, layer 7 security using the application gateway with WAF. And then at the same time, with the Azure policy, we are putting all the compliances like HIPAA and HITRUST. All of those compliances has been in place for the customer. Well, that's it in this case study. I hope you like this video. If you like, please click on like and subscribe for more upcoming videos, and feel free to reach us if you have any questions. Thank you.